Hello, I'm Sergio Mason, and I've helped entrepreneurs, leaders, executives, and coaches to overcome imposter syndrome in as little as 30 days. What I'm going to talk about today is the anxieties you've got about the future, which I've always had. Since most of my life, I've suffered imposter syndrome, which basically means that even though I was very successful in what I was doing, I was afraid that I'd be discovered. I was always afraid that somebody discovered I was a fraud and I'd lose the thing and so on. And when you've got that, like I was always anxious, and people can tell whether you're anxious, whether you're good or not, people can tell whether you're anxious. I've worked with executives, an executive that was in charge of a $500 million company, and he was still had this imposter syndrome. He still felt he's afraid that he'd be unmasked, that he'd be a fraud. And what I'd say is it's common to feel this thing if you've got imposter syndrome, and it's possible to overcome it. For me, it took me my whole life to overcome it, but I worked on it. I mean, I quit my job. I stopped going a few years ago, and I just started working myself and learning various methodologies and so on. Because to me, it was a very serious issue with me. It affected my whole life. I never had the confidence to go for anything. And if you've got these anxieties mean you're afraid of what might happen in the future. If you're afraid that you might be discovered, it doesn't just affect your work life. It just, for me, it affects every area of your life. You might have a relationship, and you might be afraid that something's going to go wrong with your relationship, with your friends, that they'll discover that you're a fraud and so on, at every area of your life. And what I've got to say is it's possible to overcome this. It took me a long time to do it, but I worked out how I can work with other people. I work with people, and sometimes in a short period of time, sometimes 1 or 2 sessions, I can overcome it. So I now help people because that's what I suffered my whole life. And to me, it's a really serious issue. And that's what I help people with all the time, how to overcome it. So you don't have this anxiety. When you release this anxiety, the whole life changes. It's like if you pause for a moment, just pause for a moment and listen to that chatter inside you. There's all these self-criticism that possibly comes up, the doubts inside yourself. Now, if that goes away, think what's possible. I mean, some of you got incredible skills and experience, but you still don't believe in yourself like me. Your whole life changes once you believe in yourself and you have confidence. Just think of somebody else that has those skills and experience that you've got and what some of them achieved. I mean, I've gone for job interviews, and because I had that anxiety, I lost the job interview. What if you could get the jobs you're qualified for if you believed in yourself? And that's what I help people with. If you want to find out how you can overcome this imposter syndrome, the feeling like you're a fraud, that you're going to be discovered, there's anxieties that are always there, and which everybody else can tell, because no matter how good you are, sometimes you're anxious, and other people can detect when you're anxious, when I'm anxious. If you want to overcome that in as little as 30 days, just click on that button below and book in a free strategy session where we will discuss your situation with you. Thank you. I'm Sergio Mason.